So recording has started. So anyways, where were we? We were discussing that what is CV, and we'll also discuss how CV is different from resume. So first, I already told you that CV is some document which involves extensive information about a particular field, like what have you done, what is your teaching experience, what is your experience in life, what have you got, what have you received as award, what is your achievement, where have you done your internship. Everything is to be given in detail, which date, from which date to which date, then any kind of reference number if it is there, if there is some kind of publication, which publication house you chose for your publication. Every extensive detail will be there in the CV. On standard, no one can say what is the actual difference or standard difference between resume and CV, because there is no such kind of particular difference between resume and CV. The only thing is that resumes are much more concise and it is much more definite in nature than CVs. CVs are much more broader, extensive, and comprehensive about the informations. Now, why is it so? Can you tell me? Owing to the purpose. I already told you where CV is used, where resume is used, or more exactly where CV is used. So can you tell me why it is so that the CVs are broader and wider and not the resumes? Resumes are precise and concise. From the purpose, from the type of places where the CV is required, which I have already mentioned. Can you get it? Why it is broader? Why it is having more information? The CVs. Yes, anyone? Okay. Let's recall what I have said about CV. Where is it required? In which kind of jobs, of which kind of job CVs are required? Just now I told you.
Educational.
Educational, research, or in any of
Sir,
the areas.
applying for a professor job.
Applying for professional jobs or academic jobs, or if moving away from the academics, then where CV is needed? I told you about levels of management. 3 levels of management: top, middle, lower. Have I told you about this earlier?
No, sir.
Okay. So basically, there are 3 different levels of management in which the jobs are there. The top level management, CEOs, chairmen, directors, etc. Then the middle level management, the uh, office heads, the um, departmental managers are called as the middle level managers. And then there are the lower level supervisors, foremen, direct workers, sales team, etc. So those are lower level management, lower level managers. So most of you will be joining at the supervisory level or the lower level only, and most of you will be needing resume, and the reason is very obvious. What is the reason? Can you tell me what is the reason why you will be needing resume instead of CV?
Sir, because it is short and gives very latest information about us.
Very direct information, very to the point information. Yes, right. It does not bothers about exaggerating all the achievements. So that is why a quick information of your background is given through resume, and therefore resumes are mostly used at elementary or the first levels of the job. Whereas the middle levels, if you are going for a job for middle level or some higher post, then the CVs will be required. Even if you are going for the corporate job, not the academic ones, because they require more information, more extensive knowledge about your background. That is why CVs are required. However, there is no hard and fast rule that which company will call for which kind of document. That depends upon the requirements of the company also. So be ready for both CV and resume, or prepared with both CV and resume, and whatever is asked of you, you can give it to them. But most probably you will be asked for the resumes and not the CVs. Now let's move on to the slide. Can you all see the slide? Resume writing, unit 7.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So first let us discuss what is resume and what is CV. So resume means summary, whereas CV means course of life. So from the definition or the literal sense only, it is very clear what each type of document is. A resume is more of a summary. It will be maximum of 1 page, or sometimes more than 1 page also, 2 pages also. But most of the time it will be 1 page only. 1 page or 1.5 page or maximum 2 page, not more than that. Whereas CVs are generally 3 to 4 pages. Now the content matter can almost be similar in both resumes and CV. But the only difference will be the things which are present within the content or content topic. Say educational qualification. It will be present both in resume and CV, but it will be more comprehensively given in the CV, whereas in resumes only pointers will be given. 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. Whereas in CVs there can be tables, proper tables, what marks we have got in which um, degree or those kind of things are there. Everything will be present in the CV. Total development which is there in your professional career, that is given in the CV. Now here one point at the last is given: a CV is a typical living document which will reflect the developments in the professional career. What do you mean by living document? Can you get any idea what does a living document mean? Anything living means dynamic. Anything living can change its form. So in context of CV, what kind of information is it giving? The living document?
Sir, in which we can update anything or change
Yes.
anything.
Every time you go with for a new job, you have to update your CV. Typically update your CV because the detailed information is um, very soon to become obsolete, because every part you have to check that it is according to the present situation or not. Anything new happening, anything new in the achievement, any even change in the achievement or change in your line, anything, even the skills also, the soft skills, if you have attained a small certificate which is making any kind of change, that should also be added in your CV. So it is more like a living document.
Sir,
Yes.
in that case, resume is also a living document because we need to change it again and again for a specific purpose.
Yes, but it is more of a summarized in a summarized format rather than the detailed information, only a summarized format. So if you compare the CV to the resume, then maybe the number of times you make changes in the CV will be more because it is more detailed. So more information need to be updated. Resumes also a dynamic document. It is not a static document, because both the documents, they are for your professional career. So both the documents are living documents. But if you see, the CV will be typically called as a living document because of the details which are given there. More details are present, therefore more times the changes need to be done. Okay, then what is a CV? So let's discuss. Let's provide a summary of your experience and skills. And as I said earlier only, CVs are for entry level candidates. That is why for you, sorry, typically CVs for entry level candidates are longer than resumes. This is written. Resumes are for entry level candidates. CVs are for mid level candidates who have amassed numerous publications which tend to run for a much longer period of time. Okay. So CVs will be for middle level candidate, and entry level candidate resumes will be there. That is why for you people, resumes will be mostly practical. Now let's see a CV sample. However, this unit is mostly considered or concerned with resume. Still, I am telling a bit about CV because CV is sometimes maybe asked from you. Can you see it? Is it legible? CV sample?
Sir, please increase, sir, the
Okay.
font.
Okay. Now? Is it legible now?
Sir, a bit more, sir. Little bit more.
130% are zoomed in.
Okay,
Now
sir.
is it visible?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Legible now to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So you can see all the detailed informations are present within the CV. Career objective is there, education is there, even the dates are also there, how much GPA is there, everything will be present. Detailed format. And this is just a sample, so only one page is given. Otherwise, it will be around 2 to 3 pages containing all the information. Because in CVs, what people do is they even write the soft skills also in a very typical sentence-wise manner. Just for example, you want to say you have skills which will help you to take rational decisions. So you will write all the things in that particular sentence, like my decision making skill is based on my knowledge and my core fields and everything. How you explain it, exaggerate it. You have to exaggerate and impress. That is more like a decorative document. Okay. Whereas if you just want to mention your soft skills in your resume, you just write that particular term. Say good communication skills, or say simply the team leading skills, in this way. Okay. You don't have to exaggerate or writing a complete sentence for that particular skill. Then, have you seen the CV sample?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Got the idea? What kind of document CV is?
Sir, what is that at the top? Is it the address?
Name of the candidate.
No, sir, below that. New York.
Below that, oh, that is the cell number.
This one, sir, 35 White Street, New York.
35, actually, that is the address, the personal address of that candidate. Address of the candidate, then the cell number, and then the mail.
Okay, sir.
Then let's come to the main document which you are concerned with. What is a resume? Let me zoom out. It's still clearly legible, I guess. I don't have to zoom in because the font size which has been used is more. So can you read it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So go through this paragraph and tell me in brief, in your own word, what is a resume? By this paragraph, what do you understand? What is a resume? You can also give a comparative explanation. Yes.
Sir, I think it is like what were you, what you want to be, and what are you now?
Okay. What you want to be and what you are now. Okay. As compared to CV, how will you explain?
Sir, CV, it is in CV, it we will provide everything in
Detail.
deeply.
Okay. Okay. Whereas in resumes, there will be summary.
Yes, sir.
Short, precise summary, one-liners, sentences, short summaries will be there. Okay. Length of resumes are generally at least 1 page. Sometimes it is 2 pages also, depending upon your achievements, your awards, or your skills, qualifications, experience, etc. If you have more amount of skills, qualification, experience, membership, etc., then the resume can also go for 2 pages. Otherwise, definitely it is 1 or 1.5 page because it is a short guideline. It is a short summary about your career. Let's see the resume sample. Can you see the resume sample? Again, shall I zoom it? Is it legible, the resume sample?
Zoom it a bit.
Okay. Now, or let me put it on the slideshow.
Okay, sir.
Now,
Okay, sir. Now.
okay. So can you make out the difference with the previous document by the given sample, by observing this given sample? Though it is already mentioned. These 4 points are the most significant points which are there. Like if you are giving objectives, or say if you are going for research and giving the research interest, then it has to match to your specific job advertisement, whatever advertisement or whatever job you are going for through whatever advertisement which has been called for. So it should match that. So every time you are going for a new job, you have to change your objective a bit for that particular job. It should at least match. Why I'm saying so? Why matching your career objective with the particular job every time? Why this tailor making of the objective? Again, the reason is very obvious.
If you are interested, then only the company will hire you.
Definitely. You have to show your interest. That is the first document or first impression which you are giving to the company. So therefore, if you are matching your interest to the company requirement, definitely there will be more chances of looking into your resume while screening, because most of the bigger companies, they screen through only the document which you give them. So you will be called for the interview on the basis of these documents. So it holds a very important place. Then you have to give in your relevant experience. This is the most important field in any kind of CV. The relevant experience. Relevant experience means whatever the job you are going for, anything which is relevant to that particular job, any experience which is related to that particular job in some or other way. So relevant experience should be focused. Other experiences will also be there, but relevance experience should be focused. Especially in the case of resumes. Then use, if you are using some kind of publication works, any kind of publication you have having, any in any journal you have given any paper, or if any other place you have published your paper, which is a reputed one. So use proper citation. There are citations available on internet, how you will give it. There are APA style, APA 6 style, and so on and so forth. Various kinds of citations are there, though it will not be needed by you, because um, nowadays without research people do not give in papers for submission, especially in our country. Then awards, honors, memberships, etc. are there within the resume. Now let's come back from the slide. Can you see the purpose of resume slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So purpose of the resume is it is a marketing tool. So definitely first impression is given through the resume, and therefore you need to work upon it very carefully, how you prepare the resume. Do not make it as a fun document, like you have created it with um, too much of unnecessary things or unnecessary decorations around it, and some different kind of fonts are being used. Only professional kind of font should be used, like which is acceptable, either Arial or Times New Roman, at a basic format, which is generally around 12 font or 14 font, however clear you want to be. Then it is a request for an interview, and therefore you should always be seeking some kind of, or there should be at least a mention of some kind of request within the resume. So generally resumes are given with a cover letter. Cover letter, you will write down almost like an application, that you are this and this, you are qualified in this and this, and so you are applying for the job, and you have the necessary qualifications which can be verified through the resume. So generally it comes with the cover letter. Then it's your bigger picture, a detailed snapshot of your professional life. So whatever is relevant for the job, you should mention it within the resume. So these three things you should keep in mind, that it is a marketing tool, it is a request for an interview, and it is your bigger picture. Now let's see the format for the resume, which is very important. Anywhere you have or you are having any kind of doubt or query, you are free to ask that, because these are very important documents. Can you see the resume format?
Yes, sir.
Let me share it again. Okay, can you see the resume format again?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the things here given are header, the objective, which is optional in the case of resume, but do not make it optional. Though it is written optional, it is not mandatory to give the objective, but if you give the objective within the resume, it will improve its quality. So try to give in the objective every time you're going for a particular job. Then education qualifications, that is education. Then work experience, that is your relevant experience, projects, honors, and activities. Apart from this format, I'll give you some pointers in a serial order which should be followed. If you want to note it down, please note it down. Okay. So first thing which will be there will be your, write down the heading resume guideline. Then the first thing which should be there is your contact information.
Sir, what did you say at the first?
At the heading, just write down resume guideline, and one by one in an order write down what I'm saying.
Okay.
What should be there within the resume. Okay. So first thing which should be there is your contact information. First thing. Now this contact information, what is the alignment of the writings in within the resume? Left, right, or center?
So left.
Left alignment. The contact information only can be both left aligned as well as middle aligned or center aligned. Okay. But it's better to be on the safer side and write it on the left hand side, that is left aligned. Now this contact information, what will it contain? So it will contain first your name in bold, then your address, then phone number, and then email. And make it sure that whatever email you are giving, it's not very funny. People use very funny names. It should be professional. The email address. So name, address, phone number, and email in the contact information. Then next part or next point will be your objective. This objective will be tailor-made according to a specific job for which you are applying. Now, how the objective will be made, that we'll discuss in the next slide. Next will be your education. In education, it can be segregated into two parts. One will be your education, means your standard education. What is the name of your last degree which you have attained, as well as you can also give in the information, like in your case, you can give the detail of intermediate school as well as the last degree, like you are BTech. So if you are going for a job without completing the degree, or when you are in the last year, then anticipated date of the graduation, the name of the institution, GPA, etc., or CGPA, etc.
Sir,
You can leave off. Yes.
CGPA and pointer should be given in the education or honor slash activities.
The CGPA will be given with the degree only, in the education.
Yes, sir. Do we have to place it in the education column or the last one, honors?
Honors. So no, not in the honors.
Sure.
The GPA will be in the education section. With in front of the degree, you have to write down and which GPA you have qualified that particular degree.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sir, in
With
education, we have to
this,
write the name of the college.
the name of the college, name of the degree, name of the graduation course, city, state from which you have done.
Okay.
Okay. Only the mean informations. But you can leave off all the high school details. High school details is generally not required in the case of resumes. Only your latest degree as well as one more from the background. So in your case, inter as well as this graduation when you will be going for the job. Then next will be a part of education only, that is skills and qualifications. How it will be different from the education portion? Can you tell me the skills and qualification portion or part? Yes.
Like,
So,
sir, in standard education, it could be like which degree you have done, all
Okay.
about, and in that skill and qualification, we can mention our about our internships and those things.
No, the skills and qualifications will be why you are qualified for that particular job, for that particular position. What are the skills which you are having? What are your strengths, knowledge, as well as competencies? Okay. So three things it will contain: the skills, the strengths, the knowledge, as well as the competencies. Knowledge, competencies can be put in under one field only, which directly relates to the position. So you will use all the kinds of the skills which you are having related to the job, whether that is a technical skills or your human skills, how you are good in communication, how you are a good team leader, those kind of skills, or you have any kind of basic competency that you are very good with the machines or something. So those things will be there in the skills and qualifications. Or you are a qualified um, mechanic, or you are qualified in some or other field in that particular area, then those things will be there in the skills and qualification. So after education, skills and qualification will be there. Then after skills and qualification, the most important part, that is relevant experience. This relevant experience is to be given in bullets. Okay. Simple words is to be used rather than heavily worded paragraphs. 3 to 5 bullets will be more than sufficient. In this experience, because if you are a fresher, then you will be giving your internships and all. Or if you have a definite experience in any area with a certificate, then those experience should be mentioned. And the listing of these experiences should be in reverse chronological order. Now, what is this order? Reverse
Sir,
chronology.
from bottom to top with respect
From
to time.
like your
Like,
current job will be at the top, or your which you have worked back.
so current job will be at the top, I think.
Right, right. At the top will be your current job, and then the things which you have done or the experience which you have gained in past, that will be going on below. So starting with
Sir,
the current job and ending with the last or the most last experience which you have gained. Yes.
sir, in case if we don't have any work experience, can we skip this or just write 0 years?
You can skip this. Writing rather than writing 0 years, it will be better to skip it directly.
Okay, sir.
Or you can, in the experience, you can write down fresher.
Okay, sir.
Because 0 year is like negating
Negative thing.
something. Yes. Then after relevant experience, you can also add in one more column to this, that is additional experience. Any kind of additional work experience which you are having, which is not directly related to the job, but will help you out in the job. So those kind of experience can also be added. Like you don't have any particular experience relating to a particular job, but maybe you are having experience in some other field which can also help you out in some way in that particular job. So that can be added in the case of additional experience, or with the heading additional experience. Skills which are transferable in nature. Why adding additional experience? When it is not directly related to the job. If you just observe what I'm saying, you will get all the answers. So why adding the additional experience along with the relevant experience? Yes.
Because it could not be directly related but can be helpful.
Okay. Okay. Right. After additional experience, there will be honors, projects, activities, achievements, etc. It can be clustered into one group or one heading, whatever it is. Projects and honors, or projects and achievements, honors activities, projects and achievements. Like this also it can be written, whatever form you want it to be. Okay. So in this, all the honors, all the activities with the mention of the date on which you have received that particular honor, but very short. You don't have to write in everything about that. Only the main thing. Which kind of honor, on what date? What kind of project, on which date? What kind of achievement, on which date? Then, after the projects, honors, activities, and achievements, these are over. One more thing will be there, that is memberships. Memberships or affiliations. Now, this membership and affiliation will include the name of those organizations for which you are affiliated to, or to which any organization in which you have taken any membership. Like there are certain professional organizations for various kinds of job. If you are going for management jobs or say managerial posts, then a membership with the IMA will be very preferable. That's not mandatory, but if you take that, that will be benefiting you. that will give a good pointer in this resume. So memberships of various organizations are available in the similar way. Several professional bodies are there where you can take the membership. So you can also mention that. And at the end, after membership, there will be reference, which either some people they do like this, the references will be provided if required or when required, or you can directly put in the name of the references along with the contact number. Most of the time it is required that you put in the name of the candidates. So minimum how many references should be given? At least how many references should be given?
3.
At least one.
At least one is obviously, but minimum is 2. Minimum 2 number of references, professional reference should be given. References should not be any person who is directly related to you. It should be professionally related to you. In some cases, maybe your direct relations are in your profession also. But then you don't have to mention their name. You have to mention someone who is not your relation or blood relation. Okay. You only can mention those who are professionally involved with you, who can verify your information, because the references are given so that they can be used to verify the information which you have given. And at the end, after references, there will be nothing to be added. Only thing which will be there is the declaration that all the information given within the CV is true to my knowledge, and then you have to sign by writing your name on the right hand side and date and place on the left hand side. Okay, name in bracket, then sign, and on the left hand side the date and the place of signing and date. Just a quick tip that after you finish making the resume, you should also proofread it. Check the spellings, the grammatical errors, the formatting, consistency, anything which is there, and see that it is tailor-made for the job or the position or not. Now, let's move on to the objective section, which is optional in the case of resume,
Sir?
but it is still very important. Yes.
Sir, who all can give referrals, sir?
Those who have referrals. Even you can give in the referrals of your professors.
Sir, a person working in some other company and we want to go to that company, so can he
No,
give a
he will
referral?
not directly be your referral. Referral will be a person who is knowing you or who is having some kind of experience on a particular job with you.
Like, let us say if he is our friend, can he give a referral, sir?
If he has worked with you, definitely, because when you are mentioning your experience, your achievements on a particular job, and then you are giving a reference of some other person who is not on in that particular job, how will he verify?
Sorry, sir, I didn't get you.
Like reference will be should be only of those persons who are directly related to you on that particular job or on any kind of assignment. Like in the case you are fresher of this college and you are going for a job interview, then you have to give the reference of your professors. They can verify that what kind of candidate or what kind of skills you are having. So those things they can verify. But if you
Sir,
give the reference of any other teacher or from any other college, how will it be like relevant?
sir, a senior of us from the same college can give a referral.
A senior from
Who
your
is
own
also
college
working in the company.
who is also working in the company. Uh, that depends. That depends. It's better that you give the references of your professors rather than your seniors. If he is working in that particular company, definitely it can be given. It is not a problem then. But Still, it is better to give the reference of the professors in your case. And once you get an experience, then definitely your immediate supervisors, bosses, etc.
Okay, understand.
Yes. So we were moving on to the objective section now. The objective section is optional but highly recommended, as I already told you. Every time you go for preparing a resume, please give in the objective, because that will make your resume more interesting, more goal oriented, and therefore the objective statement should be given. The objective statement should be clear, concise, and to the point. That means it should not be more than 2 or 3 lines. Then, what is a bad, weak, and good objective? You can see from this example. I want to get a job, very short, bad kind of objective. The strength is weak when to attain an internship in the livestock industry. You need to be specific without being over specific in the case of objective. So it is also written that avoid being over specific, because being over specific means you are restricting yourself to a particular job. And there can be 2 or 3 types of job within the concern which can be suitable for you. So do not be too specific, but you have to be a bit specific. Like your area you can say, but you cannot say within that area what kind of things you want to do, or specific kind of things you want to do. And then you have to target the company's perspective. What the company is trying to achieve in the market, that you can target. On the basis of that target, you can set your objective. So this thing you have to keep in mind while writing down the objective, career objective. Now you can see a sample of one candidate or student from your college only, though it is not complete, but still most of the things are there. See the name, address, phone number, mail, then education, employment details, previous employment details, academic honors, affiliations, referees or references, and then without the declaration there is the date, place, and signature. You should also give in a declaration that all the information provided is true to your sense or true to your knowledge.
So what is that much necessary for acknowledgement, sir? What is in that actually? I don't understand.
Which part?
If I fill this whole resume, why should I again say that these are true to my knowledge and so and so?
So that if any information which is being given by you is found incorrect later on, you can be pinned out. You have to take the responsibility. You are just giving on the information, nobody can pin you down because you have not signed. Now, if you are signing a declaration, that means you are abiding by the rule that yes, if any information is found incorrect, you can be responsible or you can be held responsible.
Okay, sir, I got it. Thank you.
Sir,
Yes.
What is that in reference?
Reference is it is furnished
request?
upon request. I already told you that references, some people they write furnished upon request. That it will not be directly provided because they contain the information of that particular person. So if the company asks for the same, they can ask that candidate, and that candidate can personally give them the addresses and contact numbers of those referees. That can also be done. So furnished upon request, because through the resume it is not clear that it is a document of your employment. It is just that you are going for the interview. So if the employers are satisfied with the interview and they want to verify the information, then it can be furnished. The details of the referees or the references can be furnished upon request. That is it. Okay.
So,
Yes.
so in the educational qualifications where the degree and the CGPA is to be mentioned, only the final year CGPA is to be mentioned, right?
The total CGPA of the degree,
Okay, all right.
which you have passed.
Okay, sir, understood.
Sir, actually, in resumes we find different styles. Like, say, in Google, if we search it, some kind of style, can we use those, sir? Like,
Yes,
serif
definitely.
or some other styles.
Various styles are there. See, for letter, like after this, in the next turn, because in this turn we could not take the letter, and it is almost, the time is almost over. So in the next class also I'll take the letter. So be ready for the next class also, and after that the classes will be over. And we'll discuss letter in that class, and there will be several formats which will be available on the internet. So I'm not saying that those formats are not right, but I'm giving you a standard format which if you follow, then you will find out that it will be a very standardized kind of resume which you can prepare. There are a number of formats, but these things are there
Okay,
which
sir.
should be at least followed. That is why I told you resume guidelines. These are not
Okay,
rules.
sir. Thank you.
Okay. So I hope you all have noted down the guidelines of the resume.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
So, yes.
will you please share these PPTs, all the PPTs of this
Yes,
course?
I'll share it. Once I'll discuss the letter, I'll share it.